Your goal is to get to a point where you no longer have to produce to develop producers because there's so many examples of it that you are no longer needed. That's how you get free. That's how you build passive income. That's how you scale. And that right there is how you get to a point where you can stop and your cash flow doesn't. Today's conversation is all about producing, becoming an incredible producer so that way you never have to produce again. Anybody that's stepped into sales and or entrepreneurship in the beginning stages, it's just you. It's just you. And you have to get good so that way you can then teach other people to get good. So that way eventually you can work your way out of having to do it on a day-to-day. So that way at one point you can experience freedom. Because obviously what's the goal? If you go into business, the goal is to get to a point where you can stop, but your cash flow doesn't. Your goal is to get to a point where you can be extremely profitable regardless of whether or not you show up. Obviously, anybody who cares about their craft, that believes in their mission, believes in their cause, they're never going to walk away. And that's why I still continue to do what I do. But the fact of the matter is, when you're looking at business, you got to look at it from the economic perspective here is for you not to have to do the day-to-day work so you can truly focus on growth, scaling, and ultimately helping other people become successful in their life. And so today I want to go over the 4 stages of producing, the 4 levels of producing. And level 1 is producing because you have to. You have no other option. If you don't produce, you're kicked out of your house. If you don't produce, you don't earn any income. If you don't produce, your bills aren't paid, your expenses are falling apart, your family struggles. The first stage and the first phase of producing is producing because you have to. You have no other option but to produce. The second phase of producing is producing because you want to. You become skilled. People like to do things that they're good at. You build systems, you build processes, you build a rhythm around being able to get a client, a prospect, production, whatever it might be at any given point. That becomes fun. When you've conquered the game and you know the strategy where you can get a client at any time, you can get production at any time, like you've built that skill, it becomes super fun. And now I wake up not because I have to go produce, I wake up because I get to go play. Different level of intentionality, different level of enthusiasm, different level of excitement. I produce because I want to, not because I have to. The third level of production is produce so you can teach others to produce. And you've probably heard me say this before, but it's learn it, teach others to teach it. Learn it, teach others to teach it. Well, if you haven't learned it, it's going to be very difficult for you to teach others, which is why 1 and 2 is so important. But then you get to a point where you're thriving, you're doing incredibly well. Now it's how many people can I help have success in this area? How many people can I teach to go produce all on their own? And can I be intentional with it? For many years, there was no need for me to produce in any way. But the reason I continue to show up and be an example in that area is because I was trying to duplicate myself as many times as I possibly could. And so the reason I produced on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis was no longer because I had to. It was because I was simply trying to duplicate myself into other people. And so you get to a point where you no longer have to produce. It just comes down to your desire. What are you trying to build? And if it's big, then you're going to need a lot of people that know what they're doing. And that's going to come down to the level of intentionality that you bring to every single day saying, okay, how many people can I get producing the way that I know how to produce? Well, the way that you duplicate yourself into them is to take them out, show them how to do it. So the third level of production is producing so you can teach other people to produce. And last but not least, number 4, producing so you never have to produce again. We started today's conversation off by saying, let's help you get to a point where you can stop, but your cash flow doesn't. And we talked about climbing through the levels of production. Level 1, I produce because I have to. If I don't produce, I don't feed my family. Level 2, I produce because I want to. I enjoy it. I'm skilled. I'm having fun doing it. Level 3, I'm producing because I'm trying to develop other producers. And then you get to level 4, which is I have so many producers that I no longer have to be the master copy because I have hundreds of people that I can point at as the master copy. That's what you're trying to get to. See, most people, when you don't duplicate yourself, you're the only person that people can copy. So if you're not producing, there's no duplication going on. But when you've replicated yourself and duplicated yourself so many times, now there's so many examples of success that you no longer have to be the example of success. And that's what leads to duplication. That's what leads to your business scaling. Your goal is to get to a point where you no longer have to produce to develop producers because there's so many examples of it that you are no longer needed. That's how you get free. That's how you build passive income. That's how you scale. And that right there is how you get to a point where you can stop and your cash flow doesn't. So guys, if you know anybody that's an entrepreneur, they're trying to scale their production, they're trying to build a team, they're trying to get to a point where they're trying to become financially free, whatever it might be. If you know somebody trying to improve their production, share this episode with them, tell a friend. We put out all this content for free. All we ask is that if you ever learn something, you like, share, subscribe, and you tell someone else about it. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next week.